for key information, you end up highlighting the whole damn thing anyways, you know. So moral of the story, corn muffins, bran muffins. We're going to have one equation for milk. Right, I tell you right here, one equation for milk, one equation for flour. So, yeah, you got to write all that highlighted crap down. So you're going to be quizzed on one of these two problems we do in class today. We're doing linear programming day 2. I'm going to have to try to figure out how to switch the numbers on this problem, so you can't just copy it directly onto your quiz, although you might enjoy that. I'll mix it up a little bit and try to figure that out. That'll be entertaining. But this corn and bran muffin problem would be one of the two you could get on your quiz. And then the second problem we're going to do today involves the doctor and routine and full physicals. So it'll be one of those two, the doctor problem or the muffin problem, that you'll get on your quiz next week. Remember too, next week we're doing 3.5, which is solving systems in 3 variables. So we go X, Y, and Z. And those problems are just straight up nasty. Like, these, they're just nasty. You'll be going through trying to solve 3 variable system by elimination. You'll make one tiny little sign error, and then you don't get the right answer in the end, and you just want to start screaming at that point. It's really challenging to catch your errors when we do those problems next week, but guess what? We're still going to do it. Rip that Band-Aid off and have at it. So your quiz next week will be 3, 4 of these giant problems. So I'll probably do one that's like the nuts and bolts without the words. One of the 2 word problems I told you, the doctor or muffin problem, and then probably 2 or 3 of the solving systems with 3 variables problems. So you got that to look forward to. But at least you got a 4-day weekend coming up, right? That's a bonus. When it's going to be like 4 degrees outside, but you know, that's okay. Bundle up, go outside still. Anybody going skiing? Not a single one. Anybody at home going skiing this weekend? It's good. The lift lines will be a freaking nightmare. I kind of quit skiing about 4 years ago. Well, took a break, not quit. Just because I couldn't handle the damn traffic anymore. It just drives me insane. So once I retire in 7.5 years, nobody's counting, then I'll drive up midweek and go skiing. It'll be much better. Okay, so we got corn muffins, bran muffins. Put your little virtual hand racing up when you're done writing all this crap at home, please, so I know when to move on. And I will check the rest. Thank you. So if it were me at home, or in person for that matter, you might want to bust out your phone and just take a picture of this problem, just because you're going to want to practice this without any sort of additional anything, so you make sure you can do this problem on your own. So I snapped a quick photo of that problem. Good, good. You could screenshot it at home as well. Okay, take your virtual hand racing off the screen, please. Lower your hand. Lydia, don't forget to lower. Henry. William. Henry, lower that hand. There, now. I don't know what he's listening to. Okay, so anywho, we've got 4 cups of milk for corn and 2 cups of milk for bran. Remember, I told you I would identify the variables, because if you get those variables wrong at the very beginning, it's just super ugly. So we've got 4x plus 2y. So I'm getting that 4x from right here, cups of milk. 2 for the bran, so 4x plus 2y. Then they only have 16 cups of milk, so less than or equal to 16. So that second equation, we have 3 cups of wheat flour for the corn, 3 cups of wheat flour for the bran, and 15 cups of wheat flour. So that equation is 3x plus 3y less than or equal to 15. Don't forget, remember. Those x and y are greater than or equal to 0. Okay? Remember, this problem alone by itself is worth 12 points. So it's worth a lot. First thing we're going to do on the equation on the left here is subtract 4x and then divide by 2. So we get 2y less than or equal to negative 4x plus 16. And then divide 2, all 3 parts. And we get y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 8. Flour problem, subtract 3x, divide by 3. So we get 3y less than or equal to negative 3x plus 15. Last step, just divide by 3. So we get y is less than or equal to negative 1 over 1x plus 5. I just write it like that so I can have a slope. So if you like doing that kind of thing, you can put negative 2 over 1x there, just to remember that. Then I will copy this to the next page. So yeah, I don't know when the rest of you guys joined in as far as our conversation we were having before class began, but at the board meeting this past Tuesday, the district was hinting at the fact that we might all go back to school, everybody back in school after spring break, 4 days a week back in school, kind of like the elementary kids are doing right now. So just kind of anticipate that may happen. It depends on the numbers. The numbers continue to trend downwards, which is good, because I know we're all sick of this. I know I am. As much as I love wearing my mask and getting my mask acne, so fun, right? Okay, the equation I forgot to write was the profit equation. So objective function right here is what they're talking about for profits. So we're trying to maximize profit. Kind of towards the bottom there, it says he makes a profit of $3 per tray. So right, $3 per tray for corn, $2 per tray for bran. So our objective function is just P equals 3x plus 2y. So I'm going to write that equation also on the next page here. And we'll do the blue equation in blue. Start at 8, and then I go down 2, write 1. And like I told you, I'll always count it all the way down to the x-axis. So that equation is less than, which means we're going to shade in the corner of quadrant 1 so far. We're going to do the purple one next, so we'll start at 5 and go down 1, right 1, like that. less than the purple. So there is our feasible region. So I had some kids asking yesterday, like, how do you know what points to pick? I just think of it like the corners of the feasible region. So the corners of the shaded part. So this is a corner, right? Because it's coming down here, and then it kind of changes directions. So we want to select that point there, and this one here. So this ordered pair is 0, 5. This one here is 3, 2. And the last one right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. The most common mistake students make in identifying the order pairs is switching X and Y. So be careful. Like, it's super easy to say this one is 5, 0 instead of 0, 5. Just remember the order pairs in alphabetical order, X first, then Y. So we'll plug in these 3 order pairs into our objective function. So just thinking, right, so I'm looking at 0, 5 and 4, 0. So if I plug in 0, 5, I'm going to get 10, right, because I'm plugging that 5 right in here for the Y. If I plug in the 4 right here, I get 12. So that means I'm not going to do that point, right? So I'm just kind of thinking ahead of the game to save me a little bit of work. So let's plug in 3, 2, see what we get. So P equals 3 times 3 plus 2 times 2. 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 2 is 4, 9 plus 4 is all that for measly $13, right? A bunch of crap, but you know, what can you do? So we got 4, 0 coming up next. So P equals 3 times 4 plus 2 times 0, which equals $12. So clearly the top one, the 3, 2, is the one that maximizes our profit at 13. The last thing you got to do is write that profit statement, right? So we want to produce 3 trays of corn muffins and 2 trays of ram muffins to maximize our profit at $13. So you can say it any way you want. I'm going to say it kind of backwards. To maximize profit of $13. You want to produce 3 trays of corn and 2 trays of bran muffins. So good times had by all. This one's not too bad, if you ask me. You know, the graphs are pretty straightforward and easy. There's no weird decimals or anything like that. Equations are pretty straightforward, you know, because you're going to the milk and the flour. So make sure when you're looking at these things, because I'm not going to write milk and flour like I did for you, but I do write it right up here. So in case you forget, look up there and it'll tell you the 2 kind of categories of equations to write. And then the last objective function, no big deal because you can see the dollar signs. So that one's not too bad. Any questions on this one? Alright, so I'm going to actually, let me save this one so you get a little break as I save. I tried to do it last period, but it just kicked out. So you get the little break as this thing slowly crawls across and saves my 16 pages. So no one going skiing, huh? You're all very boring.
We're going camping.
Camping? Oh, God. In the mountains, I take it? Oh, Jesus.
10 miles in the sun.
Oh, God, that's going to be cold as hell. It's generally like 10 degrees colder up there. I think the high, what was it on Saturday?
Like
10?
Below
So-
0.
Okay.
Yeah.
average of like 7 degrees during the day.
Yeesh. And then you get wind. If it's not windy, it's okay, but if the wind blows, that's when all hell breaks loose, sadly. So we're a whopping 6 pages in, saving our 16. So we got one psycho going camping. What a day to go camping, right? High on Saturday. It's gotten a little bit warmer as the week went on. It was supposed to be worse. The high's 5 on Sunday. Jesus. That's nasty.
And camping too.
Oh, yeah. With some snow. Wind 8 miles an hour on Sunday and 7 on Saturday, so that's not too bad. Then it warms all the way up to 39 on Tuesday, but snow as well. And then 51 next Saturday. Classic Colorado weather. Stalling still only a 12 to 16. It's amazing all this stuff still works. So make sure you guys are looking at the video if you're totally confuzzled. I've got still out there, you know, I was kind of reflecting on this school year in the last couple of days and thinking about, especially at this point, I was having this email exchange with this mom, like 10 emails back and forth. It was nothing bad, but it was talking about this kid's reluctance to ask questions, right? And I was lamenting the fact that if I would have had you guys all year, everybody would be so comfortable by now. It would be like laughing and joking around, no problem. But it's just weird, right? This is our 6th week. We've been in school, and just with the mask, it makes it difficult. Trying to find my little file here. That's not the best way to look. Oh, that's why. I forget I saved it on the desktop. So it was easy to find, and then of course I couldn't find it. But yeah, if I would have had you guys all in person, you'd be totally comfortable by now, like no problem, tears would be shed, joy and happiness would ensue, like all that stuff would be right out in the open. So I encourage you guys with the weird, like it's weird with the mask on, at least I can see your entire face on the screen if you're at home, but all of us in person, right, you only get the little narrow eye thing to look at. It's just funky. So I encourage you to rip the Band-Aid off and ask me some questions if you need to. This class is usually better at that. But it's just like you get the whole sense of like removal from interaction wearing the face mask. Just makes it more difficult, especially if you're a shy kid, quiet kid who normally doesn't like to ask questions. It's really easy to hide behind this mask and just kind of pretend like you don't exist. Which is a weird thing, like don't do that, it's bad, right, because it'll make you sad. Okay, so take a sec, read this problem, and then we'll talk about it. So read the A, B, and C portion of the program as well. X will be routine, Y is full. So it says the doctor allows 15 minutes for routine, 45 for full physicals. Doctor cannot do more than 10 physicals per day. Doctor has 9 hours for appointments each day. Routine office visit costs 60, full physical 100. How many routine and full physicals should the doctor schedule to maximize their income for the day? And then what is the income? So we're going to write one equation for time. We're going to write one equation for physical. So we're going to only use y for the physical equation, right? We have the objective function p equals routine is x. It says the routine costs 60, full physicals cost 100, so just 60x plus 100y. And then our equation for time. So we got issues with time because part of the problem talks about minutes, part of the problem talks about hours. So we have to take this 9 hours right here and translate it into minutes. So if we do 60 times 9, it's 540 minutes. And then we can write our time equation. So 15x from right here plus 45y less than or equal to 540. Okay, and then our second equation, we're going to talk about the physicals. We're only going to use y, and it says he cannot do more than 10 physicals per day. So that one, for physicals, is simply y is less than or equal to 10. So in my mind, like once this part is done, like the hard part is over, right? You write the equations, you're good. You know how to do the little basic algebra stuff, like that's no big deal. So hopefully you feel the same way. So on the left here, we get 45y less than or equal to negative 15x plus 540. Then we'll divide 45 by all three parts. So we get y is less than or equal to negative 1/3 x. So 15 over 45 reduces to 540 divided by 45 is 12. And then I also have this y is less than or equal to 10. Remember, you can reduce those fractions in your graphing calculator. So if we add negative 15 divided by 45 and we hit math and then enter twice, it reduces it to negative 1/3, okay? So, yeah.
What would be the x and the y?
Right up here, x is routine, y is full physical.
No, so like x is greater than or equal to 0 or something like that?
You don't need any x, it's just these two equations. Yeah, that's it. So we're going to graph these things. The weird part about this one, we're going to show you a little graphing calculator trick, which you won't necessarily need for this problem, but you might. I'm going to write that profit equation over here as well, as the x is greater than or equal to 0 and y is greater than or equal to 0. Profit equation was 60x plus 100y. So the 1/3 x plus 12 hits the x-axis like way the hell over to the right. So give yourself some room on the coordinate plane for that. So we'll do the top equation in blue, and then the y is less than or equal to 10 in purple. So let's just do that one right now. So that one's right there. We're shading less than that line. And then the 12. So I just counted out the 10, and then I again counted out the 12, because if you graph this wrong, then your whole thing is jacked up. So just be careful, like always. So down 1, right 3, down 1, right 3, etc. Let's see if I can. Oh, so close. Got it. So that point way the heck over there on the x-axis is 36, 0. We are shading less than both. So we're shading this whole part in here. So we've got the corners of the feasible region. So like the edges of where it's shaded here, then it changes directions, right? It's coming along here and changes directions like that. So we select that point, and then way the heck over here as well. So the point on the left, this one is 0, 10. This one is 6, 10. This one way over here is 36, 0. And I'm going to show you how to get the 36, 0 on your graphing calculator as well. So you can, if you would like, you should play along, put the 1/3 x plus 12 into the y equals. Like that. Make sure your plots are off. Right, just to remind you, all 3 of my plots are off right now. It's highlighted when it's on. I just hit enter to turn it off. Depends on how old or new your calculator is, whether that matters, plots being on or not. Remember, you only have plots on when we're entering data. So if we are in a regular window, hit zoom 6. Right, that's all the graph you can see if we do zoom 6. Just that tiny little thing in the corner. So we got to adjust our window, right? Because if we look at our graph over here, it hits over there at 36, 0. So what I'm going to do is change my window. I want to make my Y max a little bigger so I can see that top line. And then I'm going to make my X max bigger than 36, so let's just say 40. So I did 40 for X max, 12 for Y max, and left everything else the same. And then, if we look at this graph, oh, I didn't put in the y equals 10, but it doesn't matter. This point right over here, where it hits the x-axis, is called a 0. It's called a 0 because y is 0 and x has a value. So to figure out what that 0 is, you go to second trace. So second trace is right next to graph on that top row. So second trace, and we're trying to find the 0, so we want to click number 2. So second trace number 2. And then it asks you this question, left bound. So that's the weird part of this. It's saying, like, as it relates to where this line hits the x-axis, the left side is above here, and the right is below here. So there's, like, I've struggled with the best explanation for that. I just envision, this is kind of how I've done it. It works for some students. So what I do is envision a line that goes right there. So if I'm thinking about as it relates to where that line crosses the x-axis, the left side of the green line is up here and the right side is down here. So it asks you that question, left bound. So when I do left bound, I want to be close to the x-axis because I'm going to have to go below it anyways for the right bound. So you can be like really close to the x-axis like that, that's fine. Then after you hit enter, it asks you for the right bound. So you just have to be below the x-axis. I think another way to think about it is like I'm trying to surround the x-axis. Then it has that annoying get thing. And then indeed our point is 36.0. Okay? So we'll do graphs later on in the school year that the graphs will literally be like that, right? And we'll have to get all three of these zeros with that concept, left bound, right bound. We'll get there eventually, you don't have to worry about it yet, but that's why I wanted to show you that today, because that's where we're heading in the future. So 36.0 is the order pair we want. Now we've got to plug into our profit function right here. So we're almost done. So as I think about this, trying to think if I can eliminate any of the ordered pairs, right? Because I don't know what 36 times 60 is in my head. But if I plug in the 10 right here for the y, I'm going to get 1,000. So I'm just going to plug in all the order pairs because I'm not sure which one.
Wait, first?
Yeah.
Don't you know that 6? Yeah, 6, 10 is bigger than 0, 10? No?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Trevor. Yes, you do 6, 10 is bigger than 0, 10. So let's not do the 0, 10. I knew I had a reason for it. Trevor just had to remind me what my reason was. So 60 times 6 plus 100 times 10. So 60 times 6 is 360 plus 1,000 is 1,360. Then I'm going to plug in 36.0 as well. So 60 times 36 plus 100 times 0. Don't forget those dollar signs, right? I just kind of do it automatic and sometimes almost forget about it. But 60 times 36,
2160.
2160, I did last period there, so 2160. So clearly that one is the best. Make like $700 more. So we got to write our little profit statement. So to maximize profits, of 2160. The doc wants to do 36 routine and 0 full physicals. So I know this profit statement can stress some people out, right? Don't make it hard, right? We're just 36 of the x, 0 of the y, x is routine, y is full. So 36 routine, 0 full, to make a profit of 2160. Something like that. So next week, bran or corn muffin problem. So muffin problem or doctor problem. It'll depend, I don't know how I'll do it, probably by like alphabet. So your name begins with this, then you're going to do bran, your name begins with that, you're going to do the doctor problem. And then a couple of those 3 variable problems. That quiz is probably, if one of these problems takes the average kid about 20 minutes to do, One of the 3 variable problems probably also takes about 20 minutes to do. So that quiz is probably going to take most of a class period. So we're just going to launch right in. We'll review the day before. So we won't have a chance to review the day of the quiz. I'm just not positive if I'm going to do it Thursday or Friday. Kind of depends how well you guys get the 3 variable systems. But we'll see. So Thursday or Friday next week, expect that quiz to take pretty much the whole period. Which is just something so joyous to look forward to, I know. You're like, oh, thanks, Evans. That's lovely. Okay, so that's all I got.